All right, we are live. Um, Welcome to anyone who's joining us today. I hope you have having a good Friday and have a dram in hand. This week we are joined by Toni and Annette from the Inverurie Whisky Shop, which I have to admit I have a really hard time saying Inverurie. I can't roll my R's in those sequences, but I'll let one of you say it better than I will.
Inverurie.
Yeah. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, then I'm not as off as I thought.
Yeah.
One of our producers. Oh, well, anyway, I'll do that in a second. But yeah, so thank you guys very much for joining us. I really appreciate your time, and I'm really excited about the thing that we're going to be doing together. And anyone who doesn't know, one of the events that we're doing coming up is an online tasting and screening of the film with the Inverurie Whisky Shop. And they're becoming, I believe, one of the things I want to talk about today is quite adept at doing these screenings, which are new to everybody. Not screenings, rather tastings. Sorry, screenings. That's my thing. So yeah, we'd like to talk about that a little bit and talk. If you guys can introduce yourselves, tell us who you are and what you do there, and where you are.
You go first. Hi, I'm Toni. We actually started the whiskey shop. We're in our 6th year now. So I've been here from day dot. I'm pretty much the dog's body, but at the moment I'm the one that's making up all the tasting sets, and any orders that are coming in, I do all the packaging and get them sent out. Annette has just come on board with us in October.
So I've been brought in October because, as you said, the events and tastings have been so popular that we kind of need to manage that a bit better and to see, have someone behind it all driving that. So since October, I've been doing events managing and business development. So any of the events for families, friends, social, Christmas, all these kind of different things, we pull all that together. Toni's being modest because she also does some of our website stuff too.
Oh yeah, that too.
And like Toni,
hey, that's
a bit of a dog's body. You picked the two that do the most, I think, right?
Oh yeah. The faces, but we are the ones that do everything behind the scenes.
We pull the strings. Is that what we say?
That's the one.
Yeah, it's funny how many places have those people that they're the ones that you remove that brick and the whole wall falls down.
Okay. Ladies at the shop, that's what happens. There's Janice on the shop floor, Annette on doing the business side of things, me doing everything else, and then there's just Mike and Russell. They're just the add-ons.
Yeah.
Would we say that?
No.
Well, I think you guys have been doing a great job. As as I've been talking up this event with people in the industry and different calls I've had over the last couple of days, and telling people that we're doing this with you guys, a lot of people like throughout the whiskey industry are, they're like well aware not just of the shop, but of what you guys are, your online adaptability. And someone said to me the other day that you guys did a really great job of sort of pivoting into the new reality of of going digital for now, or maybe, as a hybrid thing going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we are very lucky. I wouldn't tell this to Mike's face, but he is actually very, very clever. So as soon as we were in lockdown, he wanted to carry on doing the tastings and bringing the same sort of experience to anybody in their living room, so they're not like missing out on it. And I've actually lost count of how many tasting sets and tastings that we've actually done during lockdown. Just this year, what did I say? The first 3 months, I've made 808 tasting packs. So wow. It's crazy. Was it last week? Russell and Mike were doing tastings Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and we're pretty much full up this month, a lot of next month, and it just seems to be an amazing gap in the market that lockdown has made us more aware of.
I think the good things is as well, because obviously we're up at the top of, near the top of Scotland, like compared to London and England and all these things, but they can join in now, whereas before maybe they could do little bits of the tastings, like the shop tastings, but because our actual clients have been like private tastings for them, like birthdays and social events. So it's opened up a whole new customer base that can participate in these kind of private events too. And that's really good for us too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. We found something kind of similar with our film. Our when we were making this film, our plan was not to premiere the film online. Our plan was not to do a lot of online streaming, screening, tasting, hybrid events. That never had even crossed our mind. It was just, we took a few months when the festival in Isla got canceled last year, or didn't get canceled, got moved online. We were at a little bit of a loss for a while, and then around September we thought, we have to get smart about this, and so we did the same thing. So, and I think I just did a whiskey tasting last night with a club of friends and supporters here in LA. It was a Balvenie tasting. And I always feel the same way, which is if the conversation's good and the whiskey's good, there's a good chance that the technology just disappears and you still have a really good time. I mean, it may not be quite the same thing, but you also only have to go, in my case, like 8 feet to bed. I don't have to.
I feel your pain because you were on a tasting last night and I was on a rum tasting last night. So my head was a little bit this morning, but I didn't have to start till later, so we're okay.
Well, the thing I did last night was 9 drams.
Oh, it was a few.
I'll admit, what I did is I did very light pours, like half pours, on 8 of them. One of them was a smaller pour in the tasting kit because it was one of the Balvenie tons, and it was just so good. I drank that all, but the rest of them I did halves, and I'll have them again later.
That's the best thing to do, because you like to have a taste and then obviously go back and try and remember what they taste like and compare. It's the best thing to do.
Yeah. It's funny though. What I slowly find myself doing is accumulating little bits left over of all these drams, and then at one point I had like 40 of these little bottles that were all half full to begin with. I actually have this thing here. I'll show you. It's I call this the world's smallest infinity bottle. This is what I do is at the end of these tasting kit, whatever it is, there's always a little drop left. I pour them in this bottle. And when it gets full, then I drink that dram. And some of them have been quite interesting. Although the last one I did, it ended with an Octomore, and it just tasted that it just took over everything else that was in there. There's probably 30 other whiskeys in there, and the Octomore just kind of stampeded right over everything.
Yeah, I love an Octomore for that though. Literally, as soon as you have an Octomore, if you try anything else, no luck with them. That's all you can taste for days afterwards.
I'm actually I poured a dram to drink while we're chatting, and I told someone today, this is the sherry bomb equivalent of an Octomore. This is a Ben Nevis from the Single Cask Nation. That's just absolutely it fills your mouth. It's only a 6-year-old whiskey, but it is just huge in its flavor. I see that we have a question that popped up in the chat, which Dave Kuhn would like to know. What's the one bottle on display in the store that gets the most gawkers?
Oh, I suppose at the moment we've got a really nice Glenfiddich bottle that everyone's quite. Whenever they walk past it, they say, "Oh, that's a pretty bottle," because it's pretty new on the shelf. I don't know. It's such a busy shop. I think everyone just gets lost in here and it's like a kid in a candy store.
It's funny. I see the Classic Laddie behind you. There's something about the Classic Laddie where you could go to any bar and stand the whole way on the other side of it, know how big it is, and you'll be able to tell instantly if it just pops on the shelf like no other whiskey bottle I've ever sseen.
Yeah, even their packaging. If I showed you the wall that we're staring at just now, you could see the Bruichladdich just like I say, just jumps out at you. It's that beautiful blue color.
Yeah, it always reminds me of the original when Apple released the iMacs. Like the original iMac was like that color, that sort of aqua blue. It was kind of clear. It was in like 2003, something like that. I don't even know what year it was, but I just remember like it was just every computer back then was putty colored, and then all of a sudden there was this sort of aqua colored computer.
It's hard because
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say we actually quite a big hit when we've got limited allocations. So although they're not in the store, and another well, they're in the store and they go straight out. That's probably, so today Tony's been so busy because we got, what's all the ones you got
today? We had Adelphi brought in, so a lot of limited Adelphi releases were, so literally the box comes in and then we put them back out again.
Go back, Spring Bank.
Spring Bank as well, that came in and out again today. Yeah.
Someone at a store here in the US told me they had a term for that, and I can't remember what he said. I want to say it was called it's an in and out. It never touches your shelf. I think he called it an in and out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't floor, never mind the shelf.
Yeah.
It's good because it means that there's a lot of talk about things that are coming in, which is great in the whiskey business, where a lot of people know the upcoming things, what they're looking for, as well as people just coming in and browsing, of course.
Well, so what's that like? I mean, right now, I saw today, just because I follow whiskey media around both social media and, on websites and stuff, I know there's this big whole thing about this, the local barley, the Springbank local barley today, and people are all upset about the way they did the allocations and Caden heads. And it's, it seems to happen more and more that shops get sort of stuck in the middle of these kind of disputes of this mega demand and angry people. I mean, how do you guys deal with that, or what's your take on that?
Oh, so what we do is we've got a membership club, an exclusive, I think it's to 50 people now.
Yeah.
Which is called AWE, Aberdeenshire Whisky Embassy. So we have a small following of people pretty much all around the world. I think we've got a girl from Charlie, Norway. That's what we call her, Charlie, Norway. And what we do is, if we're getting a small allocation, we sort of give them the first chance of getting it. It's quite difficult because sometimes our allocation is tiny. And because we've got thousands of people following our newsletters, we try and do it that's sort of fair to everybody. Mm-hmm. So if it is a tiny allocation, then it will mainly go to our AWE members. But if we do get more, then we sort of put it out in our newsletter and just say, good luck, guys, the first person to get it, because we can't think of another way of doing it, really. Unfortunately, the allocations are just hit or miss. Sometimes we get one bottle, sometimes we get 2 cases. We just, depends how lucky we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys seem to have such a lot of respect in the industry now. I mean, winning major awards, and I imagine your allocations will go up.
Yeah, it's we hope so, but it's not guaranteed. Yeah, it's quite nice because obviously we're still quite a young company, but Mike is the face of the company, and just being in his company, it's like it's infectious. You can tell the passion he has for the product. I mean, all of us in the shop have got a passion for the industry and the product, and it shines through, and that's why people keep coming back to us, I think, because of that.
It seems to be that there's you guys have kind of ticked 2 boxes at the same time, which is great, which is being, a retailer, but also now becoming, very savvy online events. And, I wonder, do you think, Annette, that, let's just say COVID went away tonight, just, the world was just back to normal tomorrow. Do you think that will continue? Like, do you think that online events are here to stay?
I think online events are more than here to stay. And I think the hybrid is definitely there. So we're getting a new tasting room for anyone who doesn't know and who's watching. We're getting a revamp of our rooms upstairs, so we'll have a nicer tasting room with the facility to hopefully do more tastings up there, maybe stuff through the day as well with customers. But at night when we do the tastings, to be able to open that up to virtual as well, so we could have the tasting going on, but people down south like London or further afield that want to join the shop tastings can actually dial in at the same time. So they get a double atmosphere, which is quite nice. But the shop tastings themselves are just so busy. This month alone, what have we got? 7 on with April, and we've got like Balvenie, and then of course we've got this one we're going to discuss later. There's so many, and they're selling it so fast. But people have got a taste for it and a taste for something different with COVID, because now they can. The fact you can stay at home, like exactly what you said, you can stay at home. You don't need to drive somewhere. You can relax. You can be if you're a solo person and you don't have any friends that like whiskey or whichever event we've got on, you can join in and you don't have to be alone. You can participate as much as you want. You can sit in the background and just listen to everyone chatting. It's a freedom that people didn't have before because new things have been totally exposed through COVID. So yeah,
I think so too. And it's funny. I know just this morning we have someone who's been advising us on events and everything, and they've been hugely helpful, especially during our Burns Night week where we were just, plowing through hundreds of people a day. And one of the things they told us about was there's a new software plugin called Hop In. I think it's called Hop In, Hop On, something like that. It's for hybrid events. So that was on my list of things to do later today, was to read about it. I'm not trying to give them a free plug. I don't know anything about them.
You can tell me right now.
Yeah.
I will. One of the things, like you said, one of the things I'd like to talk about is what's behind you and what we're doing here. So, in case anyone watching this doesn't know, a lot of people have been writing to us saying, how can I see the film? And, we have yet to make the film universally available. We've been doing events with different shops and clubs and online festivals and different groups. Even occasionally we're doing a thing in Australia soon with a distillery, one of the distilleries that's featured in the film. So one of the things that we're excited to do with you guys is because you're a sort of specialty retailer that has a customer base that, really knows and appreciates whiskey. And that's who I like to think we are and who our audience is. And people who will appreciate some of the whiskeys that are featured in the film. And plus, like I said, I've said a bunch of times in social media and stuff, I'm really pleased with the way we've been able to pair the film with whiskey. That was sort of a novel idea that we had to kind of come up with on the fly, but I think it's really worked. So the specifics, I will share with everyone here. I have a little here. I'm going to put this up on the screen there. There's the link if anyone wants to get tickets to the event. This is my first time using StreamYard. Full disclosure, I know you guys know that, but so I've been practicing with it. That's part of my practice right there.
I think it's going well.
It works.
Yeah. So can you do a quick walkthrough of the whiskeys that we're going to feature in the tasting?
Yeah. So we've got a lineup of 6, and I think it's a nice range. So we've got the Brook Laddie, like we said earlier, the classic Laddie. We've got the Balvenie, the double wood, 17-year-old. We've got our Glenallachie 2007. It's an exclusive for the Inverurie Whisky Shop. It's a 12-year-old from an Oloroso punch-in. It's probably one of my favourite sherry casks that was released last year, but that's my personal opinion. A 10-year-old Port Charlotte, the Nicknean Organic, and the Waterford Sheestown 1.2.
Awesome. This will be the first event we've done where I'm jealous because there are 2 whiskeys in that I haven't had. I've had plenty of Glenallachie, but not that one.
I know you're up for this, aren't you?
So you'll have to come over and you can share them.
This is the one.
It's a beautiful bottle.
Stunning.
And then it was I think it's our own one that you haven't had, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
And look at the color.
Looks like Coca-Cola. Those are the 2 I haven't had, and I'm jealous. I would come there if I could right now. I've already gotten my first shot, so a couple more weeks, and that doesn't mean I can travel right away, but it means I'm getting closer. We've got a couple other questions popping up. I'm going to show one here on the screen. Do you ship to the US? Please say that you do.
So it's something we're looking at, but we don't currently because of all the taxes and various things. We're still looking into it. It's not a never. It's just a not right this moment. But it means you can come visit us instead. You need to come in. That's a clear answer. Or screen and stuff. And
sorry, you broke up there?
We do some EU, so it either has to be us or probably EU just now, but we're working on it. It's something in the pipeline, I feel. So that's I'm so eager to come there.
I've been to Scotland more times than I can count. I was an exchange student in Scotland when in university, so I've been coming there since I was. Well, I think the first time I was there was I was 17, but I've never been to Aberdeenshire.
It's such a shame because not a lot of people, when they think of whiskey, they don't think of Aberdeenshire, it's just a shame. It's because there's so much on our doorstep, and it's a beautiful part of the country.
Well, that's when I was a student there. The reason I never went to Aberdeen was because I was afraid of not being able to understand the Doric. I was in Glasgow, and I had a hard enough time. So in Glasgow, and so I didn't want to double down on that.
So I knew he was in Glasgow, so it makes me laugh because if you can understand, we're fine.
Yeah, if you can understand Glaswegian, you can understand up here.
Oh, well, then I'll be there the next time I come there anyway, for sure. To go to your shop, I want to go to Glenglassaugh as well. I also want to go to Shetland. I've never been to Shetland, and doesn't the ferry sail out of Aberdeen?
Yeah, one of them, yeah.
Shetland, yeah. That's just personal interest, not whiskey interest. So anyone who may not know, the whiskeys that Toni just walked through there are chosen to pair with the film. They're all whiskeys that in one way or another represented in the film. And one of the things that we did is we actually put colored dots that sort of slide into the screen and slide out at the appropriate time where those whiskeys are being represented. And then the tasting mat is color coded to match that. And one of the reasons we did colors instead of the names of the whiskeys is it freed us up to swap out the expressions. For example, there's a couple scenes, but one scene about Glenallachie. Well, so now we can put any Glenallachie in there that we want to, that sort of matches what they're doing, as opposed to always the same Glenallachie. So the tasting set's evolving a bit, and that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about the one you guys have put together, because they're not the exact same expressions that we've done. There's I think 4 of them are different, right? No, actually, all but the classic laddie are different in one way or another. Mm-hmm. So now I'm just making myself more jealous.
It sounds that way.
So Ben Chambers from Glenallachie is going to join us at the event that we do and talk a little bit about this, about Glenallachie in general, right? But also about this specific expression, which I'm eager to hear about. But that'll just make me even more jealous. And then, we're also going to be joined by Charlie McLean, who I just absolutely love talking to Charlie. Have you guys ever read his book called Scotland's Secret History? There's a lot about Aberdeenshire in there.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's just about illicit distilling, the history of illicit distilling, and the use of Port Soy as a smuggling port and like little ports along the north coast there. There's bits in there about that. It's really good.
It's worth anything you want to recommend, because I'm the new learner anyway, so I'll take any of the new teachings from you guys. I can't really easily show you right now, but I have a stupid amount of whiskey books. Although I have to admit, I buy, just like whiskey itself, I buy them faster than I read them, so the number slowly goes up. But I'll tell you. I don't know if you you haven't done any events with Charlie, right?
No, we haven't. No.
Nothing.
That'd be great.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to speaking to him, really, because he's one of those ones who's sort of so big. You just like any whiskey geek is like, yay. Yeah.
I feel like he's like the mayor of whiskey. So we have another question coming in here. Show you guys this. How do you decide the shelf life of a brand or bottling? I would imagine there are things that sell more seldom than others, but you keep to ensure selection. That's a great question.
That's a really good question. We're deceivingly quite big with our shelf space, I think. So it's quite nice because obviously if things are selling, we'll carry on bringing it in because obviously people want it. But it's nice that, you know, even if it's not selling, just to have it like hidden on the shelf, because there'll be that one person that comes in that would be like, wow, I haven't seen that in ages. So I think it's very much just about variety. We want to sort of encourage anybody to come in and try and find something they've not tried before.
I think what's good, exactly what Toni said, and I think what's good is that because we're not a supermarket, we don't necessarily have to stock the same stuff as well. So if a range comes up that Mike's excited about, a new distillery that we want to give a shot to, or like behind us we have a lot of independent bottlers, because that's something that they're quite keen on, just getting the message out there about other bottles. We can actually take a chance and take something else in. We're not tied in the same way supermarkets to core ranges. Although we do stock, like you say, we definitely stock the favourites and some other unusual stuff that people might ask for. We can stock quite a wide range. And all the things that, the good thing, everything that's on the website is available in the store. So if anyone's looking online, it's live stock. You can just search and buy it here too, which is great. It's great for us and great for them.
Yeah, that's great. And it's cool that you guys really represent a lot of the independent bottlers, because sometimes, you know, in my experience, sometimes it's easy for shops to get stuck with like, oh, we do a lot of Gordon and MacPhail stuff, or we do a lot of Cadenhead stuff, or we do a lot of Adelphi stuff. But it's, you know, to really kind of create a good sampling of that is cool.
Yeah, well, we've made 2 walls especially for it. So we've got this new wall, the lovely glass cabinet, and the firewall. So we've got 2 big shelves full of independent bottlers to get people creative and experiencing. Definitely.
That's really cool. Do you guys have any idea? I don't know what the current state of things is in Scotland. I kind of try to follow, but I don't really know exactly day to day. Like, do you have any kind of anticipatory time when you'll be able to do? You're open, right? You are allowed to be open now. Is that right? But you have limited hours. Or?
Yeah. So how long have we been open for now? A couple of weeks.
Well, we've been open fully probably since the start of March, or just the second week of March. And we were allowed to open a little bit more in some of the other weeks, but being sympathetic to other businesses that can't open, we limited our hours and took the time to refit and make the shop better for when people can come in. So fresher, brighter, more stock. So we took that time because it's quieter, and we were quite careful about, you know, protecting our customers. We don't want a lot of people, you know, mixing in together when they shouldn't be out, or maybe catching COVID, things like that. So we've taken quite a lot of protective measures for them. So you can come in. We've limited the amount of people at the moment because of COVID, and that probably won't change until they lift it up in Scotland for here. So we're looking into May probably for people a little bit freer movement. But we can have 2 households in and look around, and they can online shop, click and collect as well, and post out all around the UK and EU. So we've got quite a lot of offerings. So we're hitting every ball we can.
That's cool. I just spent the last few months in upstate New York, where my wife's family's from, and we found a little shop. It wasn't a whiskey specialist; it was just a small liquor store. But they had it was in Saratoga, New York, and they were really creative and smart about that. They click and collect, and they would have, they'd get people to queue up outside at a distance and then let one person in, or, well, when I went with my wife, they let us both in, but otherwise it was one customer at a time. And the shop was so small, you would just sort of go in and do a pick what you wanted. And then, but then of course, I think I gummed up the works because I said, I had ordered 1 bottle of, I don't remember what, but then I saw all these other things and I was sort of, my wife's like, we are traveling in a couple of weeks, so you may not, I think I bought 4 bottles there that day. But you got to support the small stores.
I agree. It's when you see our customer faces when they come in, they see us open, and exactly what you said earlier, it's like kids in a sweet shop. So although I do business and events, I'm quite happy and at home being sales and on the floor too. So when they come in, their faces light up and they're round all the bottles. It's nice to see people passionate. And the whiskey community for me has opened my eyes to a different community that's just, they're quite a family, and they like to share in each other experiences, and it's memories created, and I quite like all that. I like the whole part of it.
My favourite part of this is we've been doing local deliveries. There's nothing like it. Everyone's so happy when you come to deliver because it's whiskey you're delivering them. You on their front doorstep.
It's funny. I say it's a chain. I guess there's 3 of them. It's a mini chain in California of wine, and they're very, very good at whiskey too. That's their core things. But they do delivery here in Los Angeles, and they do something. I just found it so funny. When they deliver to you, they have to take a picture to show they handed it off to a person. They just can't leave it on the doorstep. So they would take a picture of your feet with the whiskey at your feet. Like you would open the door and they said, look, we know people don't want their picture taken, but we need to take a picture of, a human being getting this. So they would put the whiskey down on the ground on my welcome mat and then take a picture of my feet, which just seems so weird to me.
I delivered whiskey the other day and I put it on someone's doorstep and I rang the doorbell to step back so that they could pick it up without me, being in a safe distance. And their door was open. I hadn't even stood up and they were here. So I was like, okay, I was trying to step back for you. And they're like, it's okay, give me the whiskey.
They smelled the whiskey before you even got there.
I think we've had you get some quite good funny stories from customers as well. Yeah. The things, trying to find the houses. It's all great fun. We try and do our best to have something for everyone because not everyone can get out, or some people don't want to come out in the COVID, and that's fine. Well, we'll take care of them too. They don't have to come out if they don't feel safe, or if they don't, they can't travel because of limited travel. It's fine. We're here to sort that.
And the best part of it, we're not just a whiskey shop. We've got rums, we've got loads and loads of local gins and wines, and we've got a nice array, and we try to sort of promote local companies as well, which is support local, especially in this sort of these times, all these small businesses that are unfortunately going under. But
it's quite nice for us to be able to support the local distillers and things, and the local like you say, the local gins and things like that. We have a lot in our tasting packs because when Tony's making up the tasting packs, one of our actual themes is Aberdeenshire. Yeah. So we can pull from quite a big range, which is quite nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's really cool. Well, that brings me to another topic I wanted to bring up, which is some of the charity events that we've got that we're planning to do. And I wish I had more specifics to share. I'm hoping to by next week. But it's funny. There's whiskey is doing very well. I think single malts are insane. Right? They've gotten even more popular. They're certainly not suffering as a result of the global shutdown, but the hospitality industry has just absolutely been decimated. Bars and restaurants and hotels and cruise ships and all, any place. And it hadn't dawned on me until someone said to me the other day is because of the sort of the amount of blended whiskeys that get sold to caterers and hotels and chain restaurants, that the blends have really taken a hit as well. The single malts are more collectibles, and I know I spoke to you guys about it, and we're reaching out to a group of different places throughout the UK. We're planning to do a couple of different charity events that are going to benefit hospitality, supporting charities both here in the US and in Canada and in the UK, and it may expand beyond that. It originally, believe it or not, our original plan was to do an event because we were approached by someone. We were going to do one event in Seattle, and then it went from Seattle to the state of Washington to the US and Canada, and then we were like, well, we should do it in the UK too, and now it's sort of went to the UK. So it keeps growing because the need is there, and if we can do some kind of good, then we want to do it.
I think why not?
Yeah, and I think we're going to try to do a silent auction. We've gotten some distilleries and some independent bottlers offering to donate bottles, and I think we're going to do a silent auction in addition to the screening. And the rest of this stuff it's proving to be a bit complicated because we want to do some really fun stuff beyond just a regular tasting. I think we may get a couple of mixologists to do some things who would normally be doing them at their various bars to make some cocktails for us and teach people to do it and at home and stuff like that. It's still, like I said, it's still early days, but we're trying because we really want to do it sooner than later because the need is there sooner than later.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good cause. It's
really, I mean,
we've had quite a big hit in all of our industries. I think the need for just supporting anyone at the moment is great, but like for hospitality, I can see how they've taken such a big hit. And people, we can't travel either, so I think there's going to be a big thing around staycations and stay local, and
yeah. One of the things that we're talking about doing, which I think is kind of fun, is we're going to try to interview some of the people who are in our film, some of these sort of people like Charlie McLean, to tell us about their favorite pub, or how they use the hospitality industry, not just to do events, but in their own personal lives, where do they like to eat, or where do they like to go get drinks, and do they buy cocktails, and things like that. So I think that'd be kind of fun. And I have a feeling people will say your shop.
Well, definitely. Yeah. It is busy. It's for me joining the team in October, to see how busy it was, even through everything that's going on, especially like December. It's crazy, and the amount of events that I've organised, you've packed, the boys have hosted, and drunk with. It's really crazy. It's really good. It's a nice feeling to know that there's support for local, and the shop supported, and the team, and there's nothing but nice words said, which it makes us feel kind of good too, I guess.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if you guys know this, if Russell mentioned to you how we met, but we did back in January, we did this whole week of Burns Night events with different people each night, and the one ticket we sold involved getting into the Q&As of every night. And Russell joined us every night.
I know. He does like Russell's one of our hosts for anyone who's watching. He works in the shop and is also one of our hosts for our events. But is was it a whiskey enthusiast to the max, because he likes to learn everything, he likes to know everything, and then he really participates in his own and our tasting. Yeah. So I can imagine he was on every night.
He loves a blether as well. Any exclusive.
Hey, so do I. I've turned it into a regular weekly web series. But every night we had so many people in the chat that I couldn't do this and read the chat. So we actually had one of our co-producers reading the chat and then sending me a WhatsApp on a separate screen of questions that would pop up. And every night Russell was asking questions. And after the second or third night, it dawned on us that, he's not just asking questions. We don't know who he is, but he's asking really good questions. Like he clearly knows what he's talking about. He wasn't saying, he wasn't asking just really random questions. They were very insightful, thoughtful questions. So we, started talking to him more and more, and that's kind of how we got to know him, and it's led to this.
Well, he's just doing his Whiskey Academy training, because Mike does the Highland Whiskey Academy, so he does training for other people. But Russell's just been doing his training as well. So he's on the Edinburgh. He's just finished the Edinburgh one, and he's just soaks knowledge in. So it's great. And Janice, that works in the shop too, she has so much knowledge. So between, all four of you guys, really, I just sit and listen to it all, and I take it in. Times. Amazing how much things you learn in even just in months. It's crazy.
You've come on leaps and bounds in the month you've been working here. You should have heard some of her pronunciations when she first started. Somebody would phone the shop and they'll ask for something. And because I was new, I thought the quickest way for me to learn is to do a bit of everything. So I'd pick up the phone because people are busy, it's Christmas. And then I'd get someone and I say, I think they're asking for, and then a really bad pronunciation that they have to try and interpret what the customer's asking for. And then she'll try and spell it for you as well. So our first one was, I think it was when our Demerkin was just released.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not how you spell that.
Someone
that's really funny.
And did something similar. So I've got a lot of the names down now. And the customer phoned, and I'm like laughing on the other side, thinking, that was me. I feel your
2 years ago when we were making the film, just starting to make the film, my wife was running some errands, and my son was 7 at the time, and I went with him to a liquor store. She was in like a grocery store or something, and I didn't want to go in. So there's a liquor store next door, and I went in there with my son, and he and I were in the same aisle. He's 7, and he's down the aisle from me, and he yells down the aisle to me, "Dad, they have Bunnahaven's on sale." And there was a clerk there, and the clerk looked at my son and looked at me, and he said, "How does he know how to say that?" And I was beaming with pride.
Yeah, I think that there's so much you can learn. So we've recently started to do like little features on our Facebook page. So we have an Inverurie Whisky Shop Facebook page, and we started to do features rather than just be about sales. We kind of want to show people who don't come into the shop what we're about, because we're a nice like family group kind of shop. We want to give something back. So we started doing little blogs and little pieces on Instagram and just things that people can engage with and just think, like buy into the whole experience through us, because it's not all about, of course, everyone wants to make sales, but it's not just about that here. They really want to involve people in an experience and then start them on a journey, I guess. I quite like that too. So I was learning, where I'm going with it is our Instagram had the whiskey staves, and we were learning toasting and charring.
I'm so proud of you.
And Mike brought me in a stave so I could see. So
that's great.
Tony's teaching me how to smell around like the glass in different parts so that I get different smells as well.
Someone told me just the other day that there was a tip for someone who is in a whiskey situation where that's beyond their comfort level, beyond their knowledge level. And he said, always just talk about honey and vanilla and you'll be fine. Just say honey and vanilla and no one will ever look at you weird.
I agree. Whenever I do a tasting, I say to folk, oh, so what can you smell? And I was like, if you're ever in this situation again, just say vanilla. Honestly, you get brownie points for it.
I was like, was it caramel toffee or something? Yeah, I had something the other night. And then with the rum last night, I could get orange and coconut and ginger, and Russell's encouraging me because he was hosting, look at all the things that she can smell. But it's hard because it's subject to the person.
Yeah.
So even out of something, I think I got like sugared almonds and marshmallows, but women's palates and what we taste are sometimes different as well because of
it's all perceptive. Everyone's taste palates are completely different. That's why I love doing tastings, is because one person will be like, oh, it smells like rubber boots, and the next person's like, oh, it's like a log fire, and it's the passion is just amazing from one person to the next of what they get.
Do you by any chance, do you know what Samoas are?
The food?
It's not Samoas. It's a Girl Scout cookie. It's very popular here.
Okay.
But it's basically it's like a biscuit cookie, like a shortbread kind of cookie. There's caramel, coconut, and it's all chocolate. And the event I was doing last night, Neil, who is the California brand ambassador for Balvenie, said when he first got to the States, someone said this. They were tasting the Caribbean cask Balvenie, and they said, "Oh, I really get the Samoas." And he said for 5 minutes he was like, "Are they saying it smells like a person from Samoa?" Because and he had no idea. And then it finally came up in the conversation, and someone kind of explained, and he was like, "Oh, it's a cookie." Okay, and I absolutely, it's a good tasting note or nosing note more than anything, I think, for Balvenie Caribbean cask, because you really get this kind of caramel and coconut together, sort of.
You'll have to bring some over.
Exactly. We have the sweet tooth, so bring some over. And
I will swap you some Samoas for some Nicknayan.
That's a deal.
That's a deal, because Russell has some with your name on at his house.
Oh, okay.
We like peanut butter.
Well, one of our producers on our film, his daughters are both very involved in Girl Scouts, and I know they're selling Girl Scout cookies right now. So I'll get some Samoas from him, because it's a once a year thing.
It's quite competitive. From what we see on films over here, it's quite a competitive thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I think it gets ugly. And they because they get prizes if they sell certain amounts, and they get really fierce.
Don't get between your Scout cookie.
Do you see this?
Well, I think.
But you don't know how much is hyped up and how much is like true. But you see this on TV where the mums and dads get a bit like, you've got to have the best spot to sell them, don't you? Like the best spot to sell them, the best point of sale, like things to sell them on, and
there was a whole story. It was last year. California has completely legalized cannabis. Like recreational use cannabis, and there was a story about Girl Scouts setting up outside of a cannabis dispensary and just selling tons of cookies.
I can't say a bad thing. We're not allowed to say that.
You know that audience.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Munchies are. That's like that, and after, here, like a big thing after you've been drinking in pubs. Here used to be that you go get food, so you hit a baker that's just cooking, or a chip shop that's just
kebabs.
So we're all about the food.
Or when I lived in Glasgow, I knew exactly which curry shop near me would be open late enough for me to get home and get a curry after. Because it was a different, the night bus was different than the day bus I would take to get home. And so the night bus, it was a longer walk. So if you got the last day bus, you could get a curry, but if you missed it, the night bus would drop you off a mile away. So,
Smart times.
Yeah. So, I wonder, I know that we're actually, every week I do this, I go over time. So I know we're over our planned time. Not that anyone's going to come yank me away with a shepherd's crook, but I do, so in case anyone doesn't know who's seeing this, what we're doing, and we're not doing, a lot of our events are just with whiskey clubs where they may assemble their own tasting kits, or they may share bottles amongst themselves and do events. But one of the reasons that we're so excited to do an event with you guys is that they have made a custom tasting set that is available, I believe, still anywhere in the UK for shipping. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what would be the cutoff in time for people to get it? I would,
at a push, Tuesday, just because we like to know that it's in your hand for the question and answers. That is sad.
So there you go. So if anyone sees this before Tuesday, which is going to be what? The 30th. Tuesday the 30th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tuesday the 30th. If you want to get tickets, you can get it at the link that I've left up the entire time. I was going to put it away, but why? I don't need that piece of the screen. So they'll ship you a tasting set that pairs with the film. And it comes with a tasting mat that will go along with it, and you can enjoy the whiskeys that are spoken about, discussed, and shown in the film, followed by the Q&A afterwards with myself and some of the team. Do you know who it's going to be yet from the shop?
Mm-hmm.
And then Charlie McLean and Ben Chambers as well. But who's gonna be? Is it Russell or?
Russell will probably be there. I think all of us are going to be there. I'm going to be honest.
I think there may be some features.
That's great. So it's great whiskey. It's great fun. And I will tell you this: if we as a team are very understanding of the shipping challenges and the logistical challenges of pairing whiskeys with film during a global pandemic. So to that end, what we did the last time, a few people didn't get their kits in time. We'll set something up. You're not going to miss the film. If you can still watch the film without it, but if you don't want to, join the Q&A, have fun, and we'll set you up. We'll work something out with you to see the film afterwards. It's not that we do so many events. We'll just fold you into the next one basically, and you get to see the film a day or two later. So if anyone's, we had a lot of people when we sold a bottle, a month or so ago, and I know a lot of people in the EU, because of Brexit and uncertainty about shipping times, were reluctant. So we said, look, it won't cost you a chance to see the film. You're buying a chance to see the film. That comes with the tasting set. We'll sort it out for you. I think the technology's made that kind of easy. Pardon?
I think it would be a shame to miss this lineup. I think it's a good lineup.
Yeah. You don't even need the movie, to be honest with you. I shouldn't say that, but it's you can just drink the whiskey.
However, I've seen the movie and I really enjoyed it. And for me, because I don't know that much yet, it was just eye-opening. I really enjoyed it. And for everyone,
great. Thank you.
Experience is going to mean even more to them because they know the business. So, yeah.
Well, great. I can't wait. I'm really sorry you broke up again.
It's a good match, the two of us. The film.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of it. I mean, when we were shooting the film, it never had crossed our mind that we could pair whiskey with the film. But then it just seemed like one of those things that once we did it, it was obvious that it was like, yeah, this will work for sure. And I think you guys have elevated it beyond what we did. You know, it's a different Balvenie. And I will say this: the real thing. I mean, yes, Neon is still kind of hard to find, and it's a different Balvenie. But the thing that's really a game changer is that Glenallachie it's exclusive to your store. It's not just exclusive to Scotland or exclusive one single cask release. It's just a single cask at your shop. So if you're Glenallachie fans, that might make it worthwhile alone. Plus, Ben Chambers is going to join us and talk about it with us. So I really, really...
Stephen, this is what it comes to. You can see the box as well.
Nice, yeah. I love Glenallachie whiskey. I don't. You can't see it behind me. It's out of focus. But this. Wait a minute. I'm reversed. Yeah, back there. That's a bottle of Glenallachie sitting there. So anyway, hopefully people can join us. April 2nd, the film goes live, right?
Yeah.
April 3rd is when we will be doing the Q&A, but we're going to keep the film live in case you want to do the Q&A ahead of time and then watch the film after. So if you've got nothing on Easter weekend and you're in the UK, you can always write to us if you have any questions, but the link is on the screen there and that will sort you out right. So thank you guys for your time on your Friday night.
And you.
No, thank you.
This is a lot of fun. This is one of those moments where, for me, the technology disappears, and I just feel like I'm having a blether with whiskey folk.
Well, we look forward to you getting across here, so we can actually do this in person, and we can show you what Aberdeenshire has to offer.
Well, I will take you up on that because I can't wait. So, all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Sláinte mhath.
Sláinte mhath.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.